This would be the 2026 Toyota RAV4, and this would be a rainy day that looks nothing like that beautiful B-roll that you're looking at. Hey, what can I say? Movie magic. We weren't expecting it. We don't love rain on first drive events like this, but we're going to deal with it. More importantly, we need to talk about this vehicle, which is good, but so was the last version of the RAV4. This one is just more refined. The most important thing to talk about, though, it is now hybrid only. Now, there is a plug-in hybrid version that's on its way. That's going to arrive sometime late in the first quarter of 2026, whereas this version, the conventional hybrid, it is going to be on sale early in 2026, and this one is built here in Canada at Toyota's Woodstock and Cambridge plants. A whole lot of them cranked out of that place. There are some adjustments that are being made to accommodate this new one, since the batteries are being assembled in those plants, as opposed to before they were shipped to the plants and just dropped into the vehicles. Now, yeah, the cells for the batteries themselves, they are shipped in, but the packs are assembled at the plants and then put in the vehicles. Now listen, that's more of a feather in the cap to those plants. Doesn't matter as much to consumers, but it is kind of cool that more and more of the production is being entrusted in these very highly rated plants here in southwestern Ontario. They are two of the best in the world in terms of quality, and these are just testaments to the quality of the production at those plants, that Toyota is entrusting them to build the battery packs as well as its most important vehicle in the world. Now, why do I say it's so important? Well, this is the best-selling vehicle in Canada that isn't a pickup truck. That's a pretty big deal, and that's been the case for the last 7 years. It's also very popular in the US and elsewhere in the world, partially because of that reputation for reliability. You don't get that without good quality coming out of the plants. Yes, the RAV4 is also built at other plants in the world, including in Kentucky, as well as Japan, in Europe, all over the place. But the point is, when you look at the ones built in Canada, they are the best of the bunch, and here's to hoping that that continues here. Now, this is a pre-production version. I will also point out, not everything you see in this one that I'm driving is necessarily going to be available in Canada. Again, these are pre-production. Some of the colors, some of the materials in here, not necessarily going to match up, but more importantly, the fundamentals are the same. And that starts with the 5th generation of Toyota's hybrid system. It uses a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder gas engine, twin motor generators under the hood, and because this one is all-wheel drive, it's got a separate electric motor in the back that's dedicated to powering the rear wheels. Yes, it's fed by the same 1.1 kilowatt-hour battery pack, but it's independent from the rest of the powertrain. The engine itself, mostly the same as the last generation. The bigger difference, the electric motors, they are more powerful. Well, mainly motor generator 1, the one that can actually drive the wheels. That's what helps give this thing a net system output of 236 horsepower versus 219 before. There's also some changes to the control module that decides when and how to use the electric or gas power, or a combination of the two of them. I will say, it sounds very much the same when you get your foot down. Yeah, you can tell you're in a Toyota hybrid. It gets a little buzzy, that continuously variable transmission. That is the culprit there. But more importantly, it does feel peppier and more refined. It's smoother, and you can feel that extra bit of throttle. When you get your foot down, it does feel just a little more urgent, but it's also more efficient. Get this. It's good for as little as 5.4 liters per 100 kilometers with the base trim, and then even the Woodland version with its all-terrain tires, that's good for 6 liters per 100. That makes this one of the most efficient crossovers this size. It's also not hard to hit those numbers. We've been cruising around today, and we're right around 6.1. We've been cruising around some back roads out on the highway, and also keep in mind, this thing is a pre-production model that's barely into its break-in period. So very optimistic that it can easily hit those numbers. I also want to talk about this infotainment system because it runs on a new software system, not Irene, Arene. Very weird. It's the system that runs everything. The safety systems in here, anything electronic is controlled by this central computer, this brain that also allows this thing to have over-the-air update capability. It's also faster. It's got more computing power. So not only can it process requests faster from the infotainment system itself, but also a paired smartphone. It's supposed to take 5 seconds from the point that you input, I don't know, let's say preconditioning for the cabin, to it actually getting to the vehicle no matter where you are in the world, versus 15 seconds before. Quite long. So it's cool to see those advancements in a way that you can actually touch and feel for yourself. Now, something else that's new for this generation of the RAV4 is this digital instrument display, 12.3 inches. It's also configurable, and then you get the choice of a 10.5 or 12.9 inch infotainment system depending on the trim. No more physical climate controls. I wish that wasn't the case, but this is a fairly responsive setup, and yes, there are still some basics for temperature control as well as front and rear defrost. And let's be honest, this is just the way the industry is going. And the other thing I've said before, very optimistically, is the fact that if Toyota decides to push through an update to change the configuration of this dock with those climate controls, it can do that versus physical buttons. There's no way to change those after the vehicle has been produced. Now, out here on the road, again, it feels familiar. It feels like the old RAV4, but in good ways. It's also been improved. Some standout features that seem to be doing some heavy lifting, new bushings in the suspension. It does feel a little bit more composed. Yeah, it's kind of stiff, but not in a bad way. It stays nice and balanced, but I'm on some pretty rough pavement right now, and it does a nice job of staying nice and steady, firmly planted on the road, which is what you want. Now, dimensionally, this thing is almost identical to the outgoing version, which means the space inside is about the same, aside from a little bit more cargo room. But there was nothing wrong before, which means there is nothing wrong now. All right, so last but not least, we do need to talk about the price, and here's what I can tell you. Not a whole lot, because Toyota has not settled on the pricing structure just yet. Keep in mind, there's a lot going on economically right now, so it's kind of hard to nail down exactly how much it should price its vehicles based on, I don't know, stuff like tariffs and other economic issues. But here's what I can tell you. There was a gas version of the outgoing RAV4 that started right around $35,600, including freight, but before tax. And then it was about $3,000 more to get the base hybrid version, so about $38,500. I'm gonna imagine that we're looking at closer to that than an outright increase, because keep in mind, there is no more gas-only RAV4, and Toyota can't expect the Corolla Cross to fill in for that absence. So I do think it's gonna have to price this thing aggressively. It's also gonna be a volume seller. I mean, right now, Toyota says about 50% of its vehicles, including the RAV4, are electrified. So that's only going to increase with this thing being entirely hybrid or plug-in hybrid. It also tells me that this is going to be priced closer to $38,500 than that usual few $1,000 increase that you tend to see when a new generation of a vehicle is launched. Now, of course, I could be wrong, because again, we don't know what's around the corner, but here's to hoping that that is the case, because if this keeps its competitive price advantage, there's really no reason not to shop for this thing. It's always been a great crossover. Yes, supply issues have existed for a long time, but this is just more of a good thing. I do think Toyota has done a nice job improving on it in ways that matter, not focusing on stuff that doesn't. Yeah, you're gonna have to wait for my drive impressions until I drive the plug-in hybrid, but as far as this conventional hybrid goes, I'd say Toyota has done a pretty damn fine job.